This is Rich, Hot, and Free. Welcome back to another episode of Rich, Hot, and Free. I'm Jill Stanton, and today I'm going to be diving into one thing that will make you so fucking rich in 2026. I believe it will make you more money than any funnel, any content strategy, any launch plan, any marketing hack, fucking whatever, any trending audio on Reels, any viral technique. And I bet you can guess what I'm going to say it is. Anyone? Like, drum roll, please. It's your identity. And before you do a mental eye roll and you're like, oh my God, here this bitch goes again with another take on like mindset over strategy, I need you to hear me, okay? Because what I'm about to share is not this like surface level, just believe in yourself kind of bullshit that you've probably heard 1,000 freaking times by now. This is the real, like, nuanced, sometimes uncomfortable truth about why two women can run the exact same strategy and get wildly different results, okay? And I'm going to break down exactly why that happens, what's really going on underneath it all, and how to use this to your absolute advantage in 2026 so you can stack cash like the woman you keep saying you want to become. Ready? Let's dive in. Okay, so let me be crystal clear about something straight out of the gate, because I think this is where most people really get it wrong. And honestly, I think a lot of coaches get this wrong as well. And I'm not saying that strategy doesn't matter, okay? I really want to be clear about that. Strategy does matter. Offer structure matters. Your positioning matters. Your messaging matters. Like, your sales process matters. All of it matters. What I am saying is your identity, like the operating system that is either amplifying or sabotaging every strategy you touch, is the thing that matters the most. Think about it this way, okay? You can have this like beautifully designed, beautifully optimized app, but if the operating system that it's running on is glitchy and outdated and full of bugs, then the app's not going to work properly, right? It'll crash, it'll freeze, it'll malfunction, not because the app is bad, but because the system running it can't support it. And I think that's what's happening when women invest in incredible strategies, incredible programs, incredible coaches, like all of that, and still don't get the results they want. Okay, it's not that the strategy is the problem. It's the identity that's running the strategy that's the real issue. Okay, so I've coached hundreds, if not thousands of entrepreneurs by now, and I can tell you without a doubt, any strategy works when you are in your power going for it. Okay, and the ones who win aren't winning because they found some secret hack no one knows about. They're winning because of who is running the funnel, who is showing up in the strategy, who is showing up in the content, who is on the sales call, who is making the decisions. Okay? It's always about the who. And that's what I really want you to let land in this episode, in this conversation today. So here's what happens to a lot of women, especially the ones who are coming off a year like 2025, where things felt a lot harder than expected. And for a lot of people, the momentum just wasn't there. Okay. So they keep trying to build their next level while still identifying as the version of themselves who built the last one. Or worse, the version of themselves who survived the last version of themselves, 2025. Okay. And here's the thing. That version of you got you through 2025, right? Yes, of course. So we're grateful for her, always. We're grateful for her tenacity and her grit and her courage. And she is not the one who is meant to build what comes next for you. She can't. She is not an energetic match to 2026 energy. So then knowing that, the question then becomes, well, if the old identity isn't the one who's meant to build what's next, then who is? Who is the version of you who makes 2026 her bitch? And what does she believe about herself? How does she show up in service of what she does? What standards does she hold? What does she refuse to tolerate? That is the work. And it's like the most profitable work you will ever do. I guarantee you. So let me make this real for you, because I know it's really easy to stay surface with this. Okay. Let's apply this to money, because I know like identity work, quote unquote, can sound so abstract. So let me show you exactly how a weak identity shows up in your revenue. Okay. So if your self-image is still secretly someone who defaults to, who am I to be doing this? Who am I to make this much money? Who am I to be at the top? Or who am I to lead this movement? Or who am I to offer this? Who am I to sell this? Then I promise you, you will keep recreating scenarios where you have to prove yourself to maintain your current self-concept. Okay. And that can look like, I don't know, underpricing, overgiving in your containers. It can look like giving more access to you because you feel bad for someone. It can look like putting more on your plate, or saying yes to misaligned clients, but then resenting them because you're exhausted and they're draining, and deep down you know you don't want to work with them, but you said yes anyways because the money. Being stuck in this loop can also look like you being uncomfortable with ease. It can look like you being uncomfortable when things go really well for you. So that can look like things are rolling for you. Things are clicking. You're clocking wins. You're making more money. Like things are picking up steam for you. And then you subtly start to sabotage it. So maybe that's creating new problems for you to solve just to stay within your familiar, like, emotional baseline. Or maybe it's creating or entertaining a certain level of drama that doesn't really match your future, but it keeps you in the familiar. Whatever it is, it's typically because our nervous system doesn't know how to handle that level of success yet. I see it a lot when people are trying to upgrade their identity, because your identity will always seek to confirm itself. Okay? So if you subconsciously see yourself as the one who has to, quote unquote, work for it, you see yourself as the scrappy one, the one who has to grind a lot, the one who has to work harder than others, then you will unconsciously recreate experiences that keep you in that role, will keep you in that reality, in that identity. Okay? So this is why self-concept work isn't just about affirmations. It's about shifting how you see yourself and what your nervous system believes is safe for you to hold. So how do you actually do that? Like, how do you actually upgrade your identity? Because knowing you need to is one thing, but actually doing it is a whole other beast. And I'll be honest, this is where a lot of people get stuck. They hear, just do the identity work. And they think that means, like, I don't know, fucking journaling. Like journaling about their future self, or creating a vision board, or never thinking a negative thought again. Okay? And look, I'm not against you journaling. I'm not against you, making a vision board. Like, journal your heart out. Pinterest your heart out. Say all the affirmations you want. I do it all the time. I listen to subliminals all the fucking time. So whatever you want to add into your process, add it. There's no judgment. And also, that's not what actually moves the needle in your identity. What moves the needle is a process, like a real process that you can follow that creates tangible shifts in how you see yourself and how you move. So here's the process that I use with my clients. Okay, you ready? Step 1, name the current identity that's running the show. Okay, you can't shift what you can't see, right? So you have to get honest with yourself. What version of you is still making the decisions and still running the show? Is it the version of you who's still trying to prove herself? Is it the version of you who's afraid to be seen as greedy or too much or too ambitious? Is it the version of you who doesn't have boundaries or tries to make everyone around her happy? Is it the version of you who doesn't believe that she can hold success without some level of chaos or drama? Is it the version of you who needs everyone to like her before she feels safe enough to be her big self? Get honest with yourself. Get specific. Because I'm telling you right now, she's the one who's been running the show, whether you've been aware of it or not. So look at your patterns. Look at what you keep looping in, or what you keep recreating, what you keep experiencing. Look at where you keep getting stuck. What are the familiar patterns at play for you? Because once you identify those, then you can realize that that is the outdated identity that's running the show for you. Okay? So that's the first piece. The second piece is to decide who you're going to become instead. So now that you've spotted or identified the outdated identity that's in motion right now, creating the patterns and the habits and the circumstances and the dynamics that you've uncovered, well, now it's time to design and decide who you're becoming next. Okay? So this is not like, one day I hope to be. No. We are getting clear on who she is, what kind of beliefs she holds about herself, and what she believes is possible for herself. What are the kind of actions she takes? What are the kind of decisions she makes? What kind of conversations does she have? What kind of boundaries does she have? What kind of standards does she hold? Who has access to her? Like, what does she value? What does she say yes to or no to? Like, really get specific and start listing this out. Don't be vague with this, because that just creates murkiness and it lets you off the hook when it comes to actually being this version of yourself. Okay? So get granular, get specific, because vague identities create vague results and no one wants that. All right? The third piece is to identify the gap behaviors. So this is where it starts to get really real. So I want you to look at what you're currently doing now in your real life that matches the old identity. Okay? So the habits, the decisions, the patterns, the things you keep saying yes to, the things you keep tolerating, the way you keep showing up when no one's watching. I want you to notice all of it. And then look at what the new identity would do instead. So how would she handle that situation? What would she say yes to? What decision would she make here? What would she absolutely not tolerate? How would she show up? What conversation would she have in service of this outcome? Because the gap between those two things, like the things you're currently doing and then the things she would do, that's the gap. Okay? And that's your growth edge. That's where the work is. That's where the magic happens. All right? And I want you to be really honest with yourself here, because most people skip this part. Like, they like the idea of the new identity, but they don't want to look at the specific behaviors that are keeping them anchored to the old one. But you can't outrun your patterns. You have to see them and name them and then actively choose differently, or else you'll just keep defaulting to the ones that are familiar because you're so used to it by now. You know how to be that version of you. So this is where active awareness is just so fucking crucial, because you can't change what you don't acknowledge. So this is a pivotal step in the process, okay? And then the final step is to close the gap with action, all right? Not mindset, not journaling, not visualization, action. Cold, hard action. Because you don't just think your way into a new identity, all right? You act your way into it. Every time you take an action that matches the new identity, you're building evidence. You're training your nervous system. You're proving to yourself that you are her now. And these don't have to be like giant, dramatic, massive actions. In fact, that's actually usually not how it goes at all. Like, your future self actions should be micro. They should be micro, but stacked consistently and consciously until they just become who you are now. All right. So it's the act of normalizing this in your life, normalizing those kind of decisions, normalizing those kind of standards, normalizing those habits, normalizing selling that way, normalizing holding those boundaries. Okay. And as you start to do this, it all starts to compound. And after a few months of doing this, you'll notice that you've upgraded your operating system. And once that happens, then every strategy starts to pay off bigger and bigger and bigger. Every offer converts better. Your sales velocity increases. Opportunities start pouring in. You start radiating in a bigger way. And you start becoming someone even more people want to pay. You start becoming a person more people notice. You start becoming a person more people pay attention to and respect. Your relationships transform and deepen. Your authenticity strengthens. People start to share your work more. Not because of what you're doing or the strategy that you're running, but because of who you're being while you run the strategy. That's why this work is 90% of the game. Because your identity drives fucking everything. So it's not someday kind of work. It's not something you eventually get to once you found the time. It is the thing that moves the needle in a bigger way than anything else. And the cost of not doing it compounds every day, every fucking year, every month, every week that you don't do it. Every year you stay in an identity that doesn't match where you want to go, you are building more evidence for that identity. Every fucking moment that you continue to operate as the old you because you think it's safer, you're deepening those neural pathways of that identity and you're making it harder to shift. And slowly, over years, that becomes cemented for you. It becomes, quote unquote, just who I am now. It becomes your ceiling. It becomes this like invisible wall you keep hitting no matter what strategy you try. This is how women end up 5 years in, still making the same kind of money, still having the same kind of problems, and still wondering why the fuck it's not clicking yet. And I know this can feel quite brutal to hear, but it's the truth. So I'm not here to tell you that identity work is important. I think you understand that by now, right? I mean, shit, I've gelled at you for, 30 minutes by now. I think you get the point. I think you understand that identity work matters. I'm here to tell you that not doing it has a cost that you're already paying. You just might not have realized it yet. And that's the most important part. And every day you wait to upgrade that cost gets higher. The patterns get deeper. The gap between where you are and where you want to be gets wider. But the flip side of that is that every day you choose to move as the new identity, that gap closes. The evidence builds in the next direction. The momentum starts to compound. And eventually, you don't have to try to be her anymore. You just are her. So here's my challenge for you after this feisty episode. I want you to do the 4 steps that we talked about in this episode, and I want you to see what comes up for you. Okay, so I want you to name the identity that's been running the show. Second, I want you to decide who you're becoming instead. Third, I want you to identify the gap behaviors. And then fourth, I want you to take one action today that closes the gap and forms the new identity. Okay, it doesn't have to be big. It just has to be intentional. That's it. And if you want help doing this, then I want you to come join me for the VERGE. Okay, this is a live hot seat experience that I'm hosting where we get to jam one-on-one in a group setting and really dive deep into this work and how it's showing up for you in your business and your life. All right, so these are custom hot seats where I'm just fully in the zone with you and we are working through this together. We're working through the thing for you, the idea, the resistance, the pattern that you keep circling in but can't quite pick up on or name or identify. Okay? Because here's what I know after coaching hundreds of women by now. You can't shift what you can't see. And the thing that's keeping you from your next level, it's almost never what you think it is. It's not your strategy. It's not your offer. It's not your content. It's not your messaging. It's a blind spot, a loop, a pattern that's just been quietly running the show while you've been wondering why you keep stalling right when it's time to go bigger. And finding that pattern, like really uncovering that, naming it, disrupting it, and getting you back into motion in real time, that is the thing I do better than anyone else. This is my true zone of genius. It is the thing I was put here to do. Women leave these calls and they message me saying things like, how did you see that? Or how did you pick up on that? I've spent thousands of dollars in coaching, or no one's ever spotted that before. Or I've never heard that before, whatever it is, right? So if you can feel your next level, if you can feel you're on the cusp of your next level, but something keeps pulling you back right when it's time to fully move, I want you in the VERGE with me. That is the room where this pattern ends. So the link is in the show notes, or you can go to jillstanton.com/VERGE. It's going to be so fucking powerful. I cannot wait to see who finds their way into this experience, and I cannot wait to jam with you. All right. I think that's enough out of me. I'll leave it there. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.